How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. This is the Gooners, where I give you all the updates in regards to all the transfer news when it comes to Arsenal Football Club. If you're new around here, you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way in helping me out. Listen, it's free to subscribe. Help a brother out. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're an Arsenal fan or if you're a general football fan. I talk all things football and also all things Arsenal. So, there's been a lot going on in the Arsenal's transfer world this summer, especially in the last recent weeks. And yeah, there's probably going to be a few announcements this week. There's been a few in the women's team. There was one announced earlier today, which I'll get onto as well. But it seems like the women's team also, as well as the men's team, are making thrives, are making headway when it comes to transfers. And it seems like within Arsenal Football Club themselves, from the academy all the way up to the men's to the women's team, they are making a lot of changes, even to the point where even in the boardroom, directors, you name it, there's been a lot of changes in the Arsenal Football Club, basically. So I'm going to get through all the transfers in today's show. As I said, if you're new around here, like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But there's no better way and no better place to start than to start from the one and only Viktor Gyokeres. So where do we go from here? It's been reported over the last couple of days. There's been speculations, there's been rumors, there's been a lot of contradicting information in the media in regards to Viktor Gyokeres. Listen, the man Dave Ornstein himself basically said to us, just chill. Just chill. This deal is going to happen. And obviously, my guy here, Purple Pano, if you haven't followed him, go ahead and follow them on X. Basically said exclusively, Viktor Gyokeres has been given the green light to travel to London today and to complete his medical this weekend. It's been reported that Arsenal are trying to get this deal over the line before they travel to the Asia tour this weekend. As you know, I think they're traveling over to Singapore this weekend. I believe it's on Saturday after their pre-season friendly against Watford. And it's been reported that Arteta wants this deal over the line before they travel over to Asia. Listen, this is basically what we've been waiting for. Viktor Gyokeres, with all the noise and all the news, and like I said, there's been various rumors. There's been a lot of contradicting information online, but you also have to wait and listen to obviously the valuable journalists and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm happy about this. Let me know in the comments what you guys think in regards to this transfer. Obviously, it's never done until it's done and until Arsenal obviously it makes the announcement and until Viktor Gyokeres himself is holding the Arsenal basically shirt. In regards to the number, let me know what you guys think. What number should Viktor Gyokeres be getting? Because there's various numbers available in the Arsenal squad. Unfortunately, number 9 is not available. As we know, Gabriel Jesus is holding on to that. I'm of the opinion I wouldn't mind it if Viktor Gyokeres actually has that number 14 shirt. I know there's going to be a lot of pressure when it comes to the number 14 shirt, but let's be honest, back in the day, there's been a lot of players that's inherited that shirt from Henry and has not gone on to do well. However, there is going to be a lot of pressure when it comes to Viktor Gyokeres with all the noise and all the sort of goals that he had basically scored for Sporting in the last couple of years. He's one of the most high valuable and high profile strikers in Europe, if not in the world at the moment, probably behind the likes of Harry Kane. But then again, his numbers in the last couple of years has surpassed someone like a Harry Kane, Haaland, and all that kind of stuff. They're on par, don't get me wrong, but in terms of the kind of caliber of player that we're getting, we know he can score goals. We know he knows where the back of the net is, but there's still room for improvement. And I do believe someone like a Mikel Arteta can take this man to the next level. So Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal is going to be happening, guys. It's just a matter of time. He's going to be traveling to London. His agent has been in London apparently since Monday, discussing all the basically all the financing with Sporting, with Arsenal. Obviously, there's been a bit of a setback when it came to all the add-ons and the way it's going to be formalized. But it seems like we have struck a deal with Sporting, and Viktor Gyokeres is going to be having his medical at Arsenal and is going to become an Arsenal player. This is music to a lot of Arsenal fans' ears. This is what we've been waiting for, an out-and-out striker since the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette, and it seems like Arsenal are going to be getting their man. Let me know how you guys feel about this transfer in the comments below. And then The next one, another announcement imminently that's going to be potentially be happening, if not today, possibly within the next 2 days, because it's had his medical and it's all been done. And that player basically is Noni Madueke. Is reported here by Fabrizio Romano that Noni Madueke has signed his contract as an Arsenal player, which is valid until 2030, a 5-year deal, and an official announcement is set to follow. As I said, basically, he's had his medical. There's been pictures going around. There's been videos circulating the net in regards to Noni Madueke having completed his medical. There is speculations to suggest that an announcement will be made, if not today, hopefully by Friday. There's going to be a couple of announcements to be made by Arsenal within the next couple of days, not even weeks, days. So between today and next week, there's going to be a few coming announcements when it comes to Arsenal Football Club, especially with the men's team. Noni Madueke, obviously, he has basically separated the fan base in regards to this kind of transfer to Arsenal. And I think a lot of Arsenal now that the dust have settled, a lot of us, including myself, are coming to the terms that Noni Madueke is an Arsenal player and we're just going to have to support him whether we like it or not. I know when initially it was announced, the bomber was basically dropped last week by Fabrizio Romano and everybody. There was a shockwave in the fan base, to be fair, including myself. I did make a video on that. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. Let me know what you guys think in regards to this transfer. And I think the sticking point and the reason why a lot of us was a bit like, oh, he's another Chelsea player. Do we really need him right now? At that time, in particular, we were waiting for like a striker announcement. Well, then we got Noni Madueke, which kind of like took us back and came out of nowhere. None of us expected that sort of speculation and that rumor, and obviously now is becoming a reality. Noni Madueke is going to become an Arsenal player. The issue, I believe, within us fan base was that we were like, oh, it's £50 million. Is he even worth £50 million? And I think that was one of the reasons why a lot of us were a bit in a bit of a frenzy and saying, do we really need this guy? Is he better, let's say, than a Wanyeri? Is he better than a Saka? But it's been reported and speculated that Arteta is not bringing in Noni Madueke to become a backup. And apparently there's speculations to suggest that he's going to actually have a lot of minutes. He's going to be playing a lot of games for Arsenal in the coming season. So he's not being bought just for a backup for Saka, which is, let's be honest, is what we've wanted for the past 4 seasons, especially when Saka's been playing, getting injured last season for 3-4 months. The season before, he just looked tired. Obviously, we had the Euros, and everyone just looked tired, and it took them a while to get up to pace. And obviously, if you have someone like a Noni Madueke, Premier League proven, still developing, 23-year-old player, and to be fair, he is a good player. Let's be honest. He's made the England squad within the last couple of months as well. So he's an England international, very well known, very well respected by Chelsea players and Chelsea fans. Well, should I say some Chelsea fans, but listen, it's going to become an Arsenal fan. And my message to a lot of Arsenal fans, including myself, I've got to take my own note, is let's just support him. He's an Arsenal fan. We're an Arsenal fan. We are the Gooners, and we support our team. We support our players regardless of who they are, whether we like the signing or not. He's going to become an Arsenal player. Now, the next one is Christian Mosquera. Yes, this is another player that Arsenal potentially are going to be making an announcement for later on this week. As I said, there's going to be a couple of an announcement this week. Christian Mosquera is another one who has also undergone his medical at Arsenal and it's been completed. All documents have been signed and completed as well. Again, reported by Fabrizio Romano saying Arsenal and Valencia have also exchanged documents for Christian Mosquera. Deal 15 million plus add-ons, 15 million euros actually. Total fee under 20 million, and a long-term deal for Mosquera has been done. Obviously booked. His medical was booked for Wednesday, which would have been yesterday at the time of recording this video. And as I said, this is another player potentially that Arsenal are going to make an announcement for later on this week alongside Noni Madueke. So the way I see it is, it's going to be potentially be Noni Madueke, Christian Mosquera, and also then Victor Gyokeres, and also another one which I'll get onto at the moment, as you guys can see at the bottom of the screen. So Christian Mosquera, I think he's 20 years old, I believe 19 or 20 years old, coming from Valencia. He had a year left on his contract. And as soon as Valencia realized that Arsenal were in for him and were being serious, and apparently we had already agreed a personal terms with him, so we were in favor of signing him, and it was just a matter of time before we struck a deal with Valencia. Valencia would try to dig their heels in. They even went to the far as extent of basically offering Christian Mosquera and a new deal in order to keep him at Valencia, but maybe to get more money off Arsenal. We don't know. However, Mosquera made it clear that he wanted to leave as soon as he knew that Arsenal were interested in him. He basically said, I want to go to Arsenal. I'm not signing a new deal, so we might as well strike a deal. So Arsenal obviously initially was reported that we put in a £20 million, I believe, a bid. They rejected that or something like that. But however, looking at this report, 15 million plus add-ons, total fee is actually under 20 million euros, which apparently works out to be around the 14, 15 million pounds mark. In this day and age, for that fee for a defender, which apparently is up and coming, that Real Madrid were also looking at him. There were various other teams in Europe that were also for him, but he basically chose Arsenal's project and said, I want to come to Arsenal. So this is another player to look out for, guys, that we are going to potentially be signing this summer, that is going to be imminently. We're going to be announcing. So look out for that. So that's basically a potential of 3 announcements within the next week and a half. What a busy summer. Let's be honest about it. But listen, I'm not against it. Let's put it that way. Arsenal are cooking at the moment. Nobody ever thought that Arsenal was going to be able to announce or sign 5 or 6 players, let alone 3 or whatever. We were hoping, okay, maybe 3 signings, and then it would have been a case of, oh, if we manage to get a few players out, then we can sign more players. But Arsenal have done it the other way around and said, you know what, we're going to sign all the players that we want before preseason, because we have this knack of signing players during preseason tours. We did it with Havertz, we did it last season with Calafiori, and I think this time around with Berta in charge, aka the Octopus, is basically said, I'm going to try and get you all your players before the preseason even start, or in the early stages of the preseason, and you can have all your players to work with throughout the preseason, and then you can have no excuses for when the season starts. The only one that potentially might go towards the end of the transfer window is potentially Eze or Rodrigo, which I'll get onto in a minute. Now, another great news within the Arsenal fan base at the moment is Ethan Nwaneri. It's been reported that a fee, or should I say, not a fee, an agreement has been reached with Ethan Nwaneri, reported here by Sammy Mokbel of the BBC. Understanding agreement is now set to be over 5 years. Unclear if that is 4+1, but total contract length is 5 years. Ethan Nwaneri is set to sign what is expected to be an initial 4-year contract with Arsenal. Deal agree, formalities now to follow. So apparently it's also been reported that he's probably going to be one of the highest paid young footballers in the world. Probably a teenager, I'm not even sure. Obviously, yeah, he's like 18 or 19 now, probably coming up to 19. Yeah, he's going to be one of the highest paid players at Arsenal in footballing world. Obviously, we had a good news earlier this transfer window with Miles Lewis Skelly obviously extending his contract as well, 5-year deal. We're looking to do the same thing with Nwaneri. So in my opinion, it looks like the future is looking very, very bright when it comes to Arsenal Football Club, because at the moment we need to be keeping our best players, all these players coming from Hayland. It's just a massive, it's a massive news, and it's a great news for Arsenal all in all, in my opinion. So it's great. I'm all up for it. Great, fantastic news for Arsenal. So that's potentially 4 announcements coming this week, within the next week and a half. Madueke, Gyokeres, Mosquera, and also the contract extension of Ethan Nwaneri. Talking about the men's team, let's move on to the women's team very, very swiftly. It's just been announced earlier today, as I was preparing to record this show, that Arsenal women have confirmed the signing of Olivia Smith from Liverpool. She becomes the first ever £1 million transfer. Sounds like nothing when you're talking about 50, 60 million pounds for like the men's team, for example. It's crazy how the women's football is. But this is a prime example of the up and coming of the women's football team. the women football in general. Obviously, we've got the Euros going on at the moment, and basically said she becomes the first ever £1 million transfer in women's football. Smith, it's a privilege and an honor to sign for Arsenal Football Club. It's my dream to compete for the biggest titles here in England and in Europe, and I'm excited to get started and contribute to doing that. Doing that here with Arsenal. The atmosphere, the supporters create at the Emirates Stadium is incredible, and I can't wait to have that behind me now. So again, we had Arsenal Football Club themselves showing, obviously, basically making an announcement with this great video here of Olivia Smith. She's obviously come over from Liverpool, as reported, £1 million. Like I said, it sounds like it's nothing. It sounds like it's nothing when it comes to when we're talking about obviously men's football, but £1 million for the women's football. Arsenal breaking the record, then basically making a trend. And I can see potentially in the women's game, this is going to become a thing now, because now that Arsenal set the trend, a lot of other teams are going to be saying, listen, if Olivia Smith can be going for £1 million, then maybe our player is worth X amount as well. So great news all round for Arsenal Football Club. As I said, we're currently the Champions League champions for the women's team, and obviously Arsenal seems to be going for great players. This is probably, we've signed great players. They announced the goalkeeper the other day as well, and this is, but I've lost count how many players the women's team have actually signed this summer already. But this is exciting, should I say? And this is basically, in my opinion, is telling me that Arsenal Football Club as a whole, they're going for everything next season. The women's team, it's been a long time since they won the WSL. It's been very long since the men won the Premier League, Champions League, never won that. And also FA Cup, 5 years, 6 years almost now. You know, we need to all start winning trophies again. So our trophy room can be looking as full as, you know, those ones down the road. I just won the Club World Cup, but we move. It is what it is. But again, so basically, what's next for Arsenal Football Club? Are we actually going for Eberechi Eze? And that is basically the question, because ultimately, is a case of apparently it's been reported that Chelsea are now open to basically signing Eberechi Eze. There's various news out there to suggest that Crystal Palace are open to a cash plus player transfer or swap with Arsenal. Again, there's speculations, rumors out there that Arsenal might be willing maybe for Trossard to go over as a player plus cash deal. Again, Trossard has been linked with a move away to Bayern Munich, so there's that as well. There was a great picture that I came across of Eberechi Eze and Arteta back in the day as well. So it seems like the last possible signing that Arsenal will make after, let's say, Madueke, Gyokeres, Mosquera, is going to be either one or the other. Either it's going to be Eze or Rodrigo. Personally, I'll be opting for Eze. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you rather Eze or Rodrigo? I know who I'll be basically be going for, but it seems like Eze himself has gone back to training with Crystal Palace today. Obviously, them tweeting it earlier today saying, Ebery Eze, it's good to see you. So he's there, all smiles, all feeling good, and obviously is currently back with Crystal Palace for their pre-season. So yes, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of things to be excited about as an Arsenal fan. You know, like I said, possible 3 to 4 announcements coming later on within the next week. We've got Madueke, Gyokeres, Mosquera, and Wenyeri. All of those announcements to come. And best believe I'll be making videos as those news drop as well. So all good things when it comes to Arsenal at the moment. It looks like we're prioritizing all the incomings at the moment. And then later on, further down the transfer window, we're going to be prioritizing all the outgoings. Potentially, you've got Zinni going, but you've got Nelson potentially going. You've got Vieira going. There's going to be quite a few movement, and possibly either a Martinelli or Trossard, but most likely looking like it's going to be a Trossard. But we never know. As per usual, if you're new around here, you know what to do. Hit that like and share button. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. It's free, goes a long way in helping me out. If you like contents like this, I want to have a conversation with my fellow Gooners. And yes, don't forget to like that button. And yeah, until the next video, have a good one, Gooners. And I'll be speaking to you guys later. Take care.